would have been if it weren't for the fast response of an Ohio State University police officer, pictured there on the screen. He shot the killer dead within minutes. That officer is being praised tonight as a hero, of course, but not everyone on the activist left is impressed by what he did. Some have imputed racial motives to the shooting. Among those is radio show host and author Tariq Nasheed. He tweeted this yesterday. So white officer Alan Harukjo shot and killed the black Somali stabbing suspect in Ohio and is being paraded as a hero. That's interesting. Well, Tariq joins us now to explain. Tariq, thanks a lot for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Tucker.
Oh, of course. This struck me when I read it as a pretty cowardly thing for you to say for a bunch of reasons, but mostly because it's so imprecise. Okay. You don't spell out what you mean. You say that that's interesting. Why is that interesting? Would it have been better if this guy, the murderer, had continued to hack people with a butcher knife? Is that what you're saying? What are you saying?
No, I'm saying, Tucker, what's cowardly is to make up a false narrative that I didn't say or even imply by saying that I was not impressed or I was dissatisfied with the police's work. And basically, that tweet was very vague. It was very neutral. It was basically a statement. It wasn't even my opinion. So for you to start off the segment saying that it was cowardly, that's disingenuous.
Look, I'm having you on, Tariq, to explain yourself, and I'm asking you, what did you mean by that? Is the guy,
and I'll be glad to do that.
Who shot this guy a hero, or isn't he?
I'll be glad to answer that, but I don't want to do the false narrative thing because that's just very disingenuous, and I like to bring truth to power.
The question.
Now, let me explain what I meant.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I didn't think that the guy was wrong for what he did. The guy was a hero. The comment wasn't meant to racialize the actual shooting in the event itself. When that happened, online, there were a lot of people who played the race card, and the minute they found out who the suspect was, they kept talking about black Somalian, then they started talking about Black Lives Matter, then they started talking about Obama, then they racialized it. So that's normal.
I'm sorry. Okay. There's only so much I can take. I spent all afternoon listening to your podcast, which is the most racialized thing I think I've ever listened to in my life. And not
which is not true. Which is not true.
Let me say this. You sent a series of tweets here noting the race and the nationality of the terrorist, and you also put quotes around the word terrorist. If you drive your car through a crowd of people and murder someone with a knife, are you not a terrorist? Why did you put quotes around?
I didn't say that the man. I didn't say that the man wasn't a terrorist. Tucker, are you going to say anything honest before we get the interview started, or it's just going to be a bunch of projection of your suspected white supremacist views?
The word terrorist. Okay.
Because I don't know if I didn't know if the guy was a terrorist or not. I didn't know if he was a suspect. I didn't know if that was the only suspect. So I didn't have all the facts. I wanted to wait for all the facts to come in before I label people, which is what you should do.
Okay. If someone drives his car through a crowd of people, here's what we knew from the first moment this happened. A guy drove his car through a crowd of people, intentionally hitting them, and then he attacked one of them with a knife. What else do you need to know in order to conclude that man is committing an act of terrorism? What's the missing piece there for you?
We didn't get all the facts initially because initially they said that there were other suspects. So I didn't have all the facts in. So I wasn't in the position to label anybody or bring my opinion to the table. I wanted to wait to see what all the facts were before I labeled people. And that's what you should do,
No,
Tucker.
you didn't. What you were trying to do is incite race hatred, which is what you do for a living, making this about race from the very start, when in fact race played no role. Now, you make the claim repeatedly in your writings and on your show that this is a, quote, white supremacist country. The guy who did this was imported here at taxpayer expense from Somalia. He was living, I believe, entirely on taxpayer expense. It was government-subsidized education at Ohio State. Why would a white supremacist country import Africans in large numbers and then pay for them to live here? I don't understand. It doesn't, speak of narratives, doesn't really fit your narrative, does it?
So we don't live in a system of complete white supremacy? Everybody's lying, Tucker?
Huh. So the overwhelming majority of immigrants to this country are non-white. Why would a white supremacist country import massive numbers of non-white immigrants? Not to blow your mind,
when you say non-white,
Tariq,
I mean, there's Hispanic people who you say are non-white, but they're labeled as white. There are a lot of people who are classified as white that you say are non-white. So you play this racialized game. So who's non-white and who's white?
Okay, look, I guess the point I'm making is that it's not 1955. It's a totally different country from the one you seem to be addressing on Twitter and in your podcast. Then answer this.
How is it different, sir?
In your tweet, it's different in this way. It is an entirely multi-ethnic country. It's not just black people and white people, one oppressing the other. It's a much more complicated landscape, as you may have noticed if you go outside. And so when you tweet out that this is a story of a white man killing a black man, that is misleading. That's not at all what happened. There was no racial motive that we know of here, and you're implying there was.
I didn't say there was a racial motive.
Your financial. Well, of course you did. You said
I
the
did say
white
that.
officer shot a black Somali suspect.
Tucker. This is Fox News. You guys are the race casino. Forget about the race card. You play the race casino. Right. So it's very hypocritical for me to specify the race of a suspect and a police officer, and that is supposed to be some kind of problem when you guys do it all the time and arbitrarily blame black people for everything negative in this country.
Here, I'm not even going to rise to the bait. Let me just say that I think when normal people, and I'm excluding you from that category, watched what happened yesterday, they didn't see the race of the terrorist or the race of the cop. They saw an American stopping a lunatic from murdering more people on a college campus.
So why did your white supremacist colleagues make it racial? So why did they make it racial? Why did so many people in the right? And how did they make it racial?
I don't know one person on any network who looked at this and said, here you have a white man killing a black man. They said, here you have a police officer, representative of
they said black Somalian,
stopping a mass
Black
murder
Lives
from
Matter.
continuing.
So was it Black Lives Matter fault? You guys always seem to blame Black Lives Matter, and Black Lives Matter is any black person you choose to make Black Lives Matter. So
right, okay, I'm following. I'm missing the thread of your argument, but I think you've made your
you're not
point.
missing it.
Yeah,
you got it.
I'm not.
You're a smart guy. Suspected white supremacists are very smart, so you got it.
Right. Thanks for joining us. I appreciate it. Well, and today, ISIS, through its news agency, and yes, it does have one, claimed responsibility for that rampage we've just been talking about at Ohio.